Alright guys, hopefully this audio doesn't suck too much because I am reporting from the front lines of I've actually now tried the siege update. I built a bolt thrower. There is some stuff you're going to want to know. If you haven't built one yet, it is going to be challenging in ways that you did not expect. We're going to talk about that. This is a new siege weapon in Dwarf Fortress. It is distinguished by the fact that you can swivel it. It's like a turret. It's basically a machine gun turret. And you can swivel around, you can do 360 degrees with it, which is pretty nice. No other siege weapon, I don't believe, lets you do that. You have to station it, and then it's planted in one direction. But bolt throwers can hammer bolts into the enemy in any of the cardinal directions. How do you build one? What you need a chain. You need bolt thrower parts, which are a specific, every siege item has like a specific siege part that has to be built in a siege workshop, which is a special workshop, of course. So you need bolt thrower parts. You need a chain, which you can build at, at a mechanic, I want to say, or maybe a craftsman. I'm not sure what makes chains. You should have all the workshops up already. Get yourself a chain. Get yourself bolt thrower parts from the siege workshop. Get yourself a bin. This is where I had to troubleshoot all afternoon. We're going to talk about bins. Mechanisms. You need mechanisms, because mechanisms are what run any machine, of course. So once you have chain, mechanism, bin, and bolt thrower parts, you are hypothetically ready to go. But of course, you're not completely ready to go, because bins are famously a very buggy, very difficult to use container, to the point that I think a lot of Dwarf Fortress players, I think a lot of them will tell you, don't even build bins, because as soon as you build bins, dwarves will take any kind of item and they'll fill the bins with those, and then first of all, now you don't have an empty bin to actually build your bolt thrower, but you now have a bin that is full of valuable things, which, while saving stockpile space, introduce you to about a dozen bugs where dwarves will not be able to find things because they're just checking the stockpile and they are not sub-searching within bins. So I ran into this all afternoon today. I built about 50 bins and dwarves kept being like, okay, cool, I have a bin. I'm going to organize things within it. So it took me, I had to build about 70 bins before there were actually empty bins to build a bolt thrower. The bin, of course, holds the bolts. And we're going to get into that. It's very cool. Bolt thrower is basically like a gun. You load it, you aim it, you shoot it, it obliterates whatever's in front of it. So dwarves will try to fill the bins with things immediately. There are ways, there are very touchy, specific, and you really have to be aware of the bugs and the nuances. You have to get on the Dwarf Fortress wiki. I always avoided bins. Bins are so annoying. I'm honestly a little disappointed that I had to build these. But, cause it's gonna mess up my item management for everything else, but whatever. You can set stockpiles if you're an advanced player, set stockpiles so that it builds a specific stockpile of empty bins, and then no other stockpiles allow the use of bins. It's pretty complicated. I ended up just building 70 bins, and then the last 20, or the last 10 went into actual bolt throwers because they were empty. Because we built so many bins that the dwarves didn't need any for organizing. That said, once you have the bolt throwers, they are stationary. You can swivel them all around, which is very cool. I haven't figured out how to, it lets you set a resting position, but I haven't actually had success getting the resting position to be locked in. It seems like the dwarves don't respect it, or maybe the platforms that these bolt throwers are on are not right for the dwarves to walk around it. I don't know. But it is a little hard to set the actual direction. But then you have 4 settings for the bolt thrower, where you can load it with ammo and leave it alone. You can completely leave it alone, just do nothing with it. Most bolt throwers you're going to want to have set as load them with ammo and then leave them alone, which is the third of 4 options. I found out that if you tell them to train with the bolt thrower, or even to fire on enemies when there's no enemies, that a dwarf will sit there, and if you tell them to train, they will waste bolts, which, by the way, major thing that I discovered, it does seem that bolt throwers specifically destroy the bolts. So if you use the bolts in a crossbow, what happens is you can go collect the bolts because they weren't, decimated on impact. But apparently the bolt thrower will decimate bolts, and it shoots a bolt every quarter of a second. So you will go through 50 bolts in no time with nothing to show for it if you're, just training a dwarf to operate it, or, if they're a crummy shot during a siege. Yeah, don't set them to fire upon enemies, even though that seems like it might be nice to set, I imagine the dwarves would go and man it when there are enemies, but it turns out they just stand there and they wait for enemies. So set it to just load, and then dwarves will load the bolt throwers in batches of 25 bolts, and then they'll leave it alone. And then when you want to train them, or if there's a siege, then the dwarves can man them, and they do fire like machine guns. It's really cool. You will lose bolts that you fire, so just be aware of that. Otherwise, it's very cool. Next time, as soon as I have a siege, I will show that footage, show how they actually do. I feel like I'm getting there because I've set enemies to hard, and I've been trading and, showing off my wealth. And as I said in my last video, I am like right behind, I'm like right next to a huge goblin empire. So it should be any day now. I'm getting lots of forgotten beasts and, you know, thieves and skirmishers. So it's any day now. But I'll show that footage when I get it. I think that's all I want to talk about bolt throwers. Now I'm going to kvetch. I'm going to like complain about, I now have 50 dwarves in this new map. And 25 of them are children brought by migrants. And so if you play Dwarf Fortress, you know, kids can do a few basic things. They can clean, they can haul, but they can't do anything that you like really need, like mining or chopping wood or fishing. Or I think kids can do plant gathering. I don't think they can even smooth stone or anything. It's very annoying. They have like cooldowns. Anytime they do something useful, they have to like play and use their imagination. I have considered a Pied Piper situation where I lure them all into a dwarven atom smasher and I'm just rid of it. And then I used EF hack to fix all the parents' moods because all the parents would be badly traumatized by that. I would also have to deal with the ghosts of the children. There would be 25 child ghosts haunting everybody. But honestly, I could use a good siege to thin them out. I didn't expect this. I don't know why my migrants are so bountiful and fruitful and they're multiplying, but like, it's becoming a problem. I've got dwarf children making legendary artifacts, but very complicated ones. I had one where they wanted skin and bone and specifically rock blocks and rock boulders, and then they just made like a ring or something. They made something very simple where I was like, why did you need all that? I've got other child dwarves like climbing into trees, they're getting stuck, they can't get down. It's very frustrating. It's basically a daycare map while I'm trying to prepare for a siege. I will let you guys know how all that goes. I imagine I'm a cruel and efficient god when it comes to Dwarf Fortress, so I imagine a lot of these kids are gonna get scattered to the winds. I don't know, we'll see. If they can grow up fast enough or I can get more adult migrants, then I'll tolerate it, but it's starting to piss me off, to be honest. All right, I don't know where I'm going with this. That's all I have for this week. If you like this video, feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment. It all really helps the channel. I'm still not monetized, if you can believe that. Thousands of watch hours, but YouTube just won't do it for me. Until I get like a big, I need like a watch hour boost, they're saying. So I'm still working on, I'm gonna do a comedy cut of all 90 Dwarf Fortress Explained Poorly videos, where it's just me being as stupid as possible across all those 90 videos. That should be a good hour-long video, and I hope people will enjoy. Thank you guys for joining me. I will catch everybody in the next one.